Welcome to another episode of Family Matters, of another webcast from Lingua Gym. Here today we've got with us Claudia and Josephine. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Well, she's Claudia and I'm Josephine.
And who's Claudia?
And she's my daughter.
and who's the mother? Who's Josephine? Josephine, apart from the mother of Claudia, is?
Oh, the director of Lingua Gym, yes, and Synergy Didactics, yes. Okay. Today I'm here as Claudia's mum.
Okay, and as a bilingual mother of a bilingual children, not only child. The other half is elsewhere.
As a bilingual mum.
Family, really.
As a bilingual child, yes.
Exactly. So tell us, Joe, a little bit about how you became bilingual. What happened in your life to be born or turned bilingual?
My parents are Spanish. They're actually from Galicia. And they immigrated to London, and that's where I was born. I was brought up in London, born and raised in London. Both my parents always spoke Spanish to me. I must say that my father sometimes, slipped into English because that was easier. But my mum was really, really insistent on háblame en español or I won't answer you, right? And some years later, I found myself in my mum's situation. That's it.
Okay, so how does it work with you now, Claudia? How is your bilingual brought up?
Okay, first I do have to say that there's this belief that if you speak to your child in Spanish, that child will become bilingual. That's not actually true. My mum was really insistent on speaking to us in Spanish. And my sister and I, when we came to Spain, our Spanish was, I wouldn't say next to nothing, but it was really bad. The language of the country you are brought up in would naturally crushes any other language that can exist in the child's environment. And you probably know that because you've got the same situation at home. It's not that easy, really. If the child is brought up in Spain, it's really difficult for that child to speak another language which is not Spanish.
Not the mother tongue, not the country, so to speak. Okay, but what's your definition of bilingual? What for you is a bilingual child or person?
That's actually an interesting question because in my opinion, it's really difficult to be perfectly bilingual in different stages of my life. English was over Spanish, and in other stages Spanish was over English, and that comes and goes constantly. So being bilingual, I think the definition of bilingual is constantly searching for a word in the other language. Because when you're speaking, that's it, you've got the word in Spanish when you need it in English, and vice versa. So for me,
I'm sure those listening have encountered that situation at some point.
I think that's the closest definition to being bilingual. One of my teachers, teaching teachers, university, said that bilingual children and bilingual people have in their brains vocabulary cards. On one side of the card is the word in Spanish and all its synonyms, and on the other side of the card is all the words in English and all its synonyms. Whereas a child that only speaks one, or a person that speaks one language, has one word and all the synonyms on the other side of the card. Probably that's why children at early stages, mine included, mix up one language with the other, because for them it's a bunch of synonyms. And our children in classroom, they at very early stages, they mix up Spanish with English, and they speak both
A mixture.
languages in one sentence. Yes.
Yeah, or in one word
Oh,
sometimes.
yes.
The prefix of one language with a sub.
Yes, there is. I'm
It's
stuck
fun.
in
Oh,
the
yes.
protocol and stuff like that. Yes.
Oh, yes, Claudia says. So give me a situation where you've had that, or where you still have. I don't know.
I've had, wait, no, because I've actually been scarred by this. Not so long ago, I was at a family meeting with a family dinner with the whole bilingual family, and we have I believe we have a big family, so sometimes it's hard to get things across the table and stuff like that. When in a bilingual family, it's especially hard to choose a language because everybody speaks both. So I chose my seat very badly. I chose the corner, so I couldn't reach anything at all. And everybody was talking, so I decided to. I was asking for the bread. Nobody listened to me because I was very small and everybody was having conversation. So at one point, I got tired of that. I got up
After 1 minute.
of my seat.
First mistake.
That was my first mistake. Everybody went silent. That was the second warning. I just skipped through that, and I screamed, "Can somebody please pass me the pan?" The bread. And this was, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. And
so you weren't that little, Claudia. You said I was only little.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember when it was, but still today I'm haunted by pass me the pan.
But you're lucky, at least you got the bread, or you got an actual pan.
No, I got loads of laughs. I did not get the bread in time.
So you didn't even get your final objective. No, but it happens.
Yeah, she remembers that one because everybody
remembers
reminds her that it was a family dinner and all that. But she's got tons, and her sisters also got tons of sentences, and our children in the classroom. I mean, you as a teacher have recorded some, and all teachers have experience with. I want the lapis brown, or something like that, you know. So but that's bilingual children.
It's fantastic. We all clap at this.
Yes.
It's
I think it's marvelous. In my case, that was probably my parents, my mom's first mistake. You know, she would frown upon it. You know, either you say it in Spanish or you say it in English. So that was a bad experience for us. But teachers tend to correct and seek perfect version, and at an early stage, I don't think that's a good idea. I think both languages have to coexist until the child sorts out.
It's a neurological process.
Yes, it's a logical process. Yes.
So how did you manage to have Claudia and sister Nolly bilingual, you know, to the level that the domain of the language that they have today?
Okay, when I had Claudia, I had been living in Spain for a long time. My in-laws' family are all Spanish. My husband is Spanish, he speaks Spanish. So obviously I had been surrounded by Spanish for a very long time. And most people around me knew me as a Spanish speaking person. So that was the first huge obstacle. And I say it's huge because I see other parents and some of our colleagues, you know, saying, when we say, speak to them in English or speak to your child in English, and they say, you know, I can't start speaking in English at home out of the blue because I feel ridiculous. Everybody knows me in Spanish and I normally speak in Spanish. So how am I going to start speaking? And in my opinion, as a parent, bringing up a bilingual child, that is one of the main obstacles. So that was one of mine also. I decided I decided that I was going, I read lots of books. At that time, we weren't teaching children, we were teaching adults and companies. Yes, in Synergy, we were teaching only adults and companies. Bringing up a bilingual child and teaching a child English was a new experience for me too. I read lots of books, and one of the things I decided was to surround Claudia and to familiarize her as much as possible with English language. And so I started speaking to her since I was pregnant. What mothers do, my future mothers do. They start, you start speaking to your
little peanut.
Exactly. How are you, my little peanut, today? So I started speaking to her in English, and that was a really good therapy. Not for her. I'm not sure it affected her in any way, but it did create a relationship, my relationship with her in English. So that was the first step. I had my private relationship, because at that point it was private, my private relationship with Claudia in English from day one. Obviously, you don't have to do it since such an early stage, but it is important to create a relationship, a bond with that person, with a certain person in a certain language, because it's going to be easier to slip into that language. I always tell the teachers we train, and I think I've told you also, how important it is to associate a person with a language, which makes it really difficult for me to speak to you, Lorena, in Spanish, because we always speak in English. And it makes it really difficult for me to speak to other team members in Synergy in English, because we always speak in Spanish. And that's what I wanted to create with Claudia. I wanted to get used to listening to myself, get rid of that awkwardness from stage one. I know that parents are probably saying, yeah, well, how am I going to do that? She's 3 already, or he's 4. So I think the best way is to start building on a relationship associated to events, to activities. And the best activity is playing. One of the things I learned with both of them is I hated Spanish when I was living in England. I used to speak to my sister, and I spoke in English. School was in English. My friends was in English. All the best things in my life, cartoons, TV, everything that I liked was in English. And that's one of the things I learned. If I wanted them to speak English and to feel comfortable and confident speaking English, I would have to weigh in all the things they liked at different stages in English. And that was a huge effort. My advice for parents is to start bringing and sharing positive experiences in English with their children. It doesn't have to be 100% of the time. Most people say, well, you probably speak in English to her all the time.
If the conversation started in Spanish, we continue Spanish. If we start criticizing somebody, we speak in English.
Which we never do.
If it came to that, we would definitely.
It's a rule. It's a house rule. If we ever.
That's it. She's got the wrong tense. Yeah. If we ever thought,
if we were to.
If we were to, exactly. If we were to criticize something.
Then usually
it's life.
Usually, it switches when I can't finish the phrase in one of the languages because I just find the synonyms in English.
Or can't be bothered.
Exactly.
That's probably more like it. Yeah.
It's more appropriate to the age. No, but it's true. Many parents do say this in the academy every day. So when do I talk? Do I talk to them in English? Do I teach them in English? And I said, no, just play with them in English. Don't tell them to brush their teeth in English and wash their hands and put the hydrogel now or mask on.
I'll tell you the tenses, the irregular verbs in
But
English.
yeah.
So positive things, yes.
Yeah.
We have quite a few parents that regularly share experiences and speak English to their children.
Mhm.
This is tricky because if you don't put that positive side in, I've seen, I can remember one case, the relationship between father and the child was really tense because the father was an English language teacher. The boy didn't really share the enthusiasm for English that the father had. So it was actually affecting their relationship. So that you have to be really careful with that. It has to be something positive, a positive experience. Yes.
It's not about teaching or lecturing. It's
Extremely important. Yes, extremely important.
so it's a good idea to use some moments in the week or in the day, if time permitted, to just play 20 minutes, whatever, or watch cartoons in English together.
That's it. Yes.
Claudia likes this.
TV in English was also, I think, a huge part of my bringing up, because I was one of the first generations to have a TV that much. They always call us the generation was brought up with screens, and in screens. I was not forced, but I always had the TV in English. I would always watch everything in English, and now I actually can't watch cartoons in Spanish. I can't watch or series in Spanish. It sounds wrong.
Yeah,
and
the original version. Mm-hmm.
It's one of the problems we've run into recently when we want to watch something in Spanish, and I can't stand it.
No, both of them always change the TV to English. Yes.
Yeah.
But that was one of my first experiments. You see, when because I was sharing this experience with other parents that were doing the same. And some of the parents were saying, like, well, she changes it to Spanish, or she doesn't want to watch it. It has to be a prize. It mustn't be forced upon the child. Something like, if you want to watch cartoons, well, too many cartoons. Oh, okay. If you watch them in English, I'll let you watch them in English. But I remember Claudia's first experiences with watching cartoons in English. And I remember once I think she was about 2, and she was watching TV, and she was watching TV in English. And I was, sharing with my husband, saying, well, look, she's okay. She seems to be enjoying the cartoons, and they're in English. And, she still wasn't speaking that much. So, and she doesn't seem to mind. And my husband got the remote, and he changed it to Polish. And she didn't flinch.
So perfect, trilingual.
So it is also important to, the earlier you try to you introduce these things, the better, because they're going to get used to it, and it's going to be part of their life. For my children, TV in English is natural.
It's second nature. It's
the natural state of a TV, not dubbed. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think the one parents say here in the school regularly is that we start playing with the children in English. They're familiar. They associate English with something positive, whether it's game or play or I don't know, cinema, or whatever it is, or attention. Yeah. Until they're a little bit older, and their children are better than the parents.
Yes. That's it. You see, I think we have an education system that seems to think that the teacher has to always know more than the pupils. And normally, I think that a teacher is a provider of ways to gain knowledge.
Or motivate,
or motivation, or the teacher is a facilitator, really. And in this case, Claudia knows words that I'm not familiar with, because it's her language, it's her age language. They've got well, I can't think of one right now.
It's the lingo, yeah.
But in Spanish and in English, she's got vocabulary that I am not familiar with because it's related to her age group. So, and obviously that means that I haven't been the sole teacher for her. I haven't been the origin of all her English. Well, I always say that Peppa Pig has taught them a lot more English than I have.
I have heard this even in company training.
Yes.
Honest, I'm not.
Yeah.
So the use and the media in general, so songs, I don't know, social networks, within reason.
It doesn't really matter. Taking advantage of anything that can surround the child of English, English experiences, whether it's theatre, whether it's TV, whether it's English dinner night. It's positive experiences, and sometimes it's just sharing experiences with a child. It's just shopping in English, or as long as you surround the child with English. One of the main sources is the English camps. English camps are immersions, really, are where the children are surrounded for hours by English, and they might not learn a huge amount of vocabulary, but they learn the best English. They learn to feel confident and comfortable living and having fun in English. They are a huge tool, certainly for my two. They were both in English camps every summer ever since they were 3.
And it does make, and I think something that parents, I'm not sure if all understand or even can think, stop thinking about it, is that a child, especially when they're little, they're not bilingual overnight. So first they develop the comprehension, and they are bilingual in comprehension until they start actually using the language like a bilingual speaker. Obviously you two are. And this is, I think, is something that people need to understand. I'm sure Claudia was bilingual in her head before she was actually bilingual in public, if that makes sense.
Before she was actually speaking, she was already bilingual, because she was familiar, her brain was already familiar with a set of sounds. And as teachers, we see that in our classrooms with 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds. They don't have difficulties with saying specially instead of especially. They don't have difficulties with saying, I don't know, comfortable instead of comfortable, because those sounds are embedded in their brains at a very early stage, and so they don't find it strange or difficult or frustrating.
Because they don't necessarily have mix one or the other. They have their own special
and there's nobody
space.
saying you can't say that in Spanish or talk to me in English. We just lead them to produce English, even though at an early stage it's mixed with Spanish. I don't mind a child saying, "Can I go to el baño?" That's excellent,
or body language, and they need. We don't need to see anymore, but when children go, "Can I go to?"
That's it.
It's fine too. That's real communication for many of us. So it's okay. And what's this belief that many parents do ask as well, that can my child be bilingual in the age of, let's say, 10? He only knows a few words. Many parents ask this. I've got an answer, but
okay,
you've got a lot of experience.
Can my child be bilingual if he only knows 10 words?
No, if he's at the age of 10, imagine a child is being perhaps more regularly exposed to the language, but the parents sometimes think, he's already 10, it's too old to be bilingual, or 12 or 9, it doesn't matter. Many parents, I think they do think this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We have in our company, and I think you are a perfect example of this. We have native speakers or native level speakers that haven't been born in England, haven't been brought up in an English environment, and that nobody can actually tell that this hasn't been the case, that they have actually had to study the language.
Mhm.
Um, and then there's something else. I didn't. One of my objectives was not for her to have a perfect English accent, which she has got, but that wasn't one of my objectives.
It was accidental, Chloe. It was accidental.
I mean, the accent thing is a weird thing because I was shown a lot of British English, and because of the TV, a lot of
American
other
English.
English. No, just way like, and it didn't sound weird. The different vowels and different accents. It didn't until I was older. I didn't know, they were, or I didn't know they were same language when it was very close and I hadn't been exposed to it, or I didn't know there were different accents.
Mhm.
And I've been told many times, "Oh, you have a weird accent." And I'm like,
Right now you did.
wow, it's so rare.
Which part of England
Which
are you
part of
from?
England are you from?
Vigo.
And I don't really know what to answer.
It's English. No, but it's true, and this is another worry for many, not only parents but also adult students who think, but will I ever change my accent, or will I always sound Spanish? And if I always sound Spanish, does that mean I'm not bilingual?
Right. Well, to the first question, will I ever change my accent? My answer to that would be, well, why would you want to? There's for me, Spanish accent in English is beautiful. I don't think the same of other languages, but in Spanish or French, the French accent in English or Spanish accent in English is absolutely beautiful if it doesn't, if it's not too strong. But so my first question would be, why would you want to have a British accent? I understand that you would want to speak English and have all the vocabulary and all the expressions and feel confident speaking in English. And if that's what you want, then yes, that is a feasible goal, certainly, whatever age you start at. That's one of the, I think what Lingua Gym and Synergy have done is taken away all these, myths that you can't be bilingual if you start speaking a language when you're 10. Um, you can't speak a language if you don't know the grammar. There's so many that we've got ridden of throughout these years.
Yeah.
Or you can't learn a language, or adults learning languages are not as good as children learning languages. Completely and utterly wrong. Adults just learn in a different way. The main mistake of most educational systems has been to transfer a teaching method that is applied to kids, and they've transferred it to adults, and obviously it doesn't work with adults. So in some ways, adults do lose maybe hearing or other abilities, but they gain so many others that facilitate language learning. And so really, learning a language is possible at any age, and becoming bilingual is possible at any age.
Even without living, like I believe one of the guests in for Lingua Gym had mentioned in the past that no, you have to live in another country to be bilingual.
Right.
I think again we've proven that it's not quite the case, but I don't know what your opinion or Claudia's opinion
Absolutely
is.
not. I mean, Claudia is the perfect example. She's never lived in England. She was born in Vigo and she's been raised in Vigo. Okay. So she's never lived in England, but you know, she did have certain advantages. But in our team, I see other people, and you can pitch in whenever you like. I've seen other people that haven't been born in England, haven't been brought up in an English environment, and that are completely bilingual, and in some cases nobody can really tell the difference between a native and themselves.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So it does put the mind at ease in many cases, or hopefully will.
Yes.
Because you don't have to live in the country, you don't have to have English parents or American parents or Canadian, Australian, or it's just being exposed to the language and have a positive association. Exactly.
Language learning has to be a positive experience. It's extremely important. Speaking a language is a skill. And you can carry out certain skills whether you like them or not. You can, I don't know, set up a cupboard whether you like setting up cupboards or not. But it's really difficult to speak a language confidently and feeling okay with yourself if the experience you have had learning that language is bad. It's really, really difficult. So in the back of your mind, you have to have a positive association to the language you're trying to learn.
And in the case of Claudia, what do you think, from your point of view, not the right answer, just your point of view, what's the advantage of being bilingual in your case? From your point of view. So that I can understand all the songs and not go,
oh no, definitely. I remember there was a time where I got really mad because I knew 2 languages. I can't really remember what was the reason. I think it was because everybody was booing at me because I knew 2 languages, so I had the advantage in English class. And I remember that day, I went to my babysitter and I said, I hate speaking 2 languages. I hate speaking English. And she looked at me and she went, but you're so fortunate to know 2 languages. And since then, I've noticed that 50% of my day, no, more than 50% of my day, depends on me knowing 2 languages. I live half of my life in Spanish because I go out with friends, or because I talk with my friends, or whatever. And then the other half, speaking with my family, watching TV, listening to music. Every social app I have is in English. Everything is in English, and
games, everything.
But I think when I feel most fortunate is when I have this window to information that nobody else has. There's when studying, I have found myself searching things up in English because there's so many more answers and so many more reliable answers in English than in Spanish. And I think that for me would be the main advantage. I just have I just have a lot of things I just have a lot of things to my advantage because of knowing English.
Okay. Even risking that I might, sound like the proud mom and all that, which I am.
with Ollie.
Obviously.
And with Ollie. But Claudia does not speak 2 languages. She speaks 4 languages fluently, and she is now studying her 5th language. So it's if she had decided to mix up 4 languages, she's got everything she needs to mix them up. And at some point, it has been fun to start to listen to her start sentence in English, continue in Spanish, and finish it in French, or speak in French with words in Galician. That's
Oh
that's
yeah, that was fantastic. That.
But you know, it's no big deal. No big deal. I hear so many parents saying, you know, oh God, you know, wouldn't it, only yesterday I was talking to a mum, and she was like me, bilingual, and her daughter doesn't speak German because she came from Germany, and her daughter doesn't speak German because she was afraid that the child might mix up Spanish, Galician, and German. The daughter is now a pilot, and you can imagine what the daughter thinks about not speaking German in a natural way. So you can introduce any amount of languages. It's not going to affect the language of the country they live in, because that's going to dominate whether you like it or not. So really, it's going to be a battle against that language dominating. Yes.
And they have, well, now is almost trending topic, this, that the fact that bilingual people have less neurological problems later on in life because their brain is trained perhaps in a more sophisticated way.
Yes.
It's almost in every blog, in every now and again in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And apparently it's not true. I mean, it's true. It's not fake news kind of thing. So another good reason.
I've read a lot about that. I would need to do some more researching. At home, I don't know the neurological problems we would have if we weren't bilingual.
I mean, I'm a teenager. I have many neurological problems. It has nothing to do with me being bilingual, just hormones. So I don't think I can answer that objectively.
Yes, but you're right, Lottie. Yes, I have read that also, that there's studies linked to that.
So it's another good reason for adults and children to learn more languages. And once they also say that once you know two, or you are fluent in two, it's much easier to accept or to learn for the language acquisition of further languages. It's much easier.
Yes. I must say,
Like Claudia as an example.
Well, we've had yes about her French. You remember at one point, it was me actually voicing what other mothers voiced to us lots of times. You know, oh, but she doesn't know her irregular verbs, or she doesn't know the grammar, and she doesn't know.
It's not me saying this, Joe. It's you.
That's it. It was me. It was me. I'm sorry. It was me. You know, doubting our own method when our own method had actually created
a bilingual
child. Yes, a trilingual child, because she was speaking French. Like, you know, I remember at one Christmas dinner, she was sat next to a couple of French speakers, and I was like, I can't believe it. You know, she spent the whole evening speaking in French to them. And she was like, I don't know, 9 or 10. No, 10, I think you were 10 or 11 maybe. I don't know. But she spent the whole evening speaking French. And I'm sure she put in a lot of English words, Galician words, and Spanish words in the middle. But she was speaking confidently, as if, you know, and that's what our method has actually done a lot for kids. You know, they are confident speakers. They even if they don't have all the words, and even if they don't have all the structures.
So give us now that links to my almost final question, because we need to leave some minutes for people to ask questions. Okay. So feel free to do so. But how has the method that you developed and that you have tested, the guinea pigs were Claudia. And only in many cases, or mainly Claudia, because obviously she's older. But how does the method enable or facilitate children or adults, in this case, what we're talking about, bilingual children, raising bilingual children, but not only, how does it facilitate that bilingualism or that language acquisition?
Okay. The first thing is, as I said from the very beginning, is positive association. And that is absolutely necessary for children and for adults. They need to have good experiences associated to their language learning. And that's the reason why when mums ask their children after our classes, what did you learn today? They say nothing. And what did you do today? They say play. Well, no, mums, they have learnt. Oh dear, can you answer
Not in English, Claudia.
and that's the reason why that's positive reinforcement. They feel that they have just had fun and shared experiences with other children, and they don't feel that they've gone to a regular class where they need to learn vocabulary, etc. But they have learned that vocabulary and they have learned those structures and they have acquired them. So one of the things, the most important in my opinion, is positive association with language. Good experiences in that language, surround your child with good experiences, the language they're learning. The other, I think, is relevance. You have to teach the language that corresponds at each age group. Yes. So I remember my first interactions with Claudia was where is daddy? Where is the ball? Where is mummy? Where is, and that was the first language so it's relevance at each stage, the language they need. Okay. And then for us, the markers of success is not vocabulary and it's not grammar, but those are the markers that our learning and teaching system need, but we use different markers. For us, the markers are confident communicators. Whatever mistakes they make, if they are confident communicators, if they feel comfortable speaking the language with their friends, then that is definitely a high marker. I remember not so long ago, we discovered this marker when we saw a group of 11-year-olds in our school, and they came in, and as soon as they crossed the threshold of our door, they started speaking in English to each other. They had just come from school, classmates, and they crossed the threshold, and all of a sudden they changed to English. And we thought that is an important marker because they feel confident, they feel they can continue speaking and having a laugh in English, and that is really one of the best markers. I know it can't be assumed by the education system because but in my opinion, it's the most important marker. We have in Spain, there's lots of people that have passed exams with high grades and can't speak a word and can't utter a word in English.
Yeah, and another that some children and adults say or have said to me in the past is that, I was watching, I don't know, a program last night on Discovery Channel or whatever, and after 30 minutes I thought, hold on, this is in English. and the brain wasn't translating, wasn't filtering, was
bilingual. That's it.
Exactly. I thought you don't need a grade, you just need those little experiences to really it's the best evaluation or self-evaluation that you are in the right track or in the very right track. Claudia, many people ask if bilingual people or trilingual people dream in different languages. Dream in different languages, or speak when you sleep, if you do talk in your dreams, in different languages.
I think I have spoken in different languages in my sleep, because when I speak in my dreams, the few times I remember, I spoke.
Well, if you're sleeping, you might not remember, but maybe your mum.
But the dreams I do remember, the dreams that were relevant enough for me to remember. when I spoke, I remember speaking in different languages, sometimes in Spanish, and mostly Spanish and English. But I don't know when if that's the same when people talk to me, because I can't remember that. I can only remember the message they conveyed, not the language they
use. But back to again,
like a sound, and I just knew what they were saying.
But she had said, you know, oh, this night I was dreaming I was speaking French to blah 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 blah.
Oh
blah.
yes.
Oh, we. No, but it's true, and what you've already mentioned this, but as a way of summary, and I think probably the important message for many people who are watching this webcast, what would be your recommendation as a mum to those families who are considering bilingualism, or even in some cases those who do not think that language learning is that crucial? So the one who is concerned and those who are not concerned.
First of all, relevance, whether language learning is crucial. English, I don't know about language learning, but English learning. English learning is not language, it's not a subject. English is not a subject, is not the a language that is spoken in English. English is a tool. English will allow you to go anywhere, whether it's on the internet or worldwide, and to be understood anywhere and to understand anything. So it's no longer a language. It's one of the most important tools that you can provide your children with. It's extremely, extremely important. In my case, it was given to me. I got it freely, so I didn't realize until I started traveling. So I would study French to go to France, and realize that in France they understand my English too, not so much my French. And Portugal, and wherever you go, English will open all the doors. Not because of the language, it's because it's a lingua franca, really. It's the language that everybody understands. It no longer belongs to the English or to the British. So it doesn't really matter which accent you speak with, or whether you use expressions that are used in Great Britain. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and the other huge, what I would like to say, and I've been asked this lots of times, is it important to be native or to be a high level to help your child be bilingual? And the answer is a huge, absolutely not. You can teach and help your child with language acquisition, even if your level is the same as your child's. And do not, the advantages the child gains from sharing language learning with you exceed those of, oh, but I don't want the child to copy my accent, or I don't want the child to copy my mistakes. That won't happen. Eventually, the child copies who the child has to copy. And the most important thing is bringing the language into your family life. That is extremely important. So whether you are a B1 intermediate level, lower intermediate level, higher intermediate level, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And we've seen that. We've actually got examples of mums that are B1s that speak to their children every now and again in English, share things with their children, and their children right now have a higher level. But they're still helping, because they're bringing English into their lives. They're facilitating the acquisition of future language. So it's still important.
Yeah, okay. Very true. And for those who don't really, or perhaps are not so aware, or they prioritize other activities to language acquisition from an early age, how could we
Um,
inform or make
Um,
aware?
well, English is out there, and it surrounds, some years ago in our generation, we didn't have internet. So, well, that was, you would use English to work, to travel. But now, anything you do, study, learn, research, hobbies, making friends, anything, English will increase that and facilitate anything you do. So it's absolutely, absolutely necessary.
To Claudia, that's your heritage.
As a, with a student's point of view, and as I have said before, everything, you have so much more information in English, so much more information in English. And as a student, I have found English to be a tool, as my mum says a lot. It has always increased the amount of information I get, and I've seen that in class. I've seen that with my friends, me knowing way more about the subject than everybody else, because
She has access to more
I have access for a lot more of information than everybody else. And as someone who has searched for information both in Spanish and in English, it is monstrous the difference between the amount of information you're going to get with Spanish search and with English search, because everybody who knows anything that thinks that something is relevant
It's worth sharing.
is worth sharing.
And will be written.
In the language that most people can understand, that's English.
Yes. Whether they're Spanish, Indian, or Chinese, they're going to share it in English.
Share it in English.
Yeah, it's for a greater exposure. Yeah, no, it's good. And as a teenager, it's cool because you can sing the real song.
I can sing the real song.
And that's really a hit. It's always a hit.
I translate everything to my friends who have been singing the wrong thing their whole lives.
Yeah, but that makes you smart.
And spot the swear words.
This is for another webcast. The creative language. Okay, we've got a few minutes left. I don't know if, I'm sure there'll be some questions coming up. Feel free to put them in the chat if you do. And if not, we'll give it one more minute for one more question. And you're free to keep doing your searches in English, Claudia, because school is about to start. So get researching.
Okay, I know it's not here, but I do have one of our person that I know that has a child, a young child, and one of his concerns was that he wasn't able, he would not be able to say I love you to his child in English. I must say that those limitations have much more to do with our expectations and the adult's limitations than with the child's limitations, because the child is not going to understand I love you or te quiero. He will understand the gestures that surround. Move that away. He will understand the gestures that surround those words. So they're not going to shock him. It's overcoming our own awkwardness. And I, as a native speaker, I felt awkward, after a certain number of years, all of a sudden switching to English with my child.
Yeah, the emotional language.
Yeah, the emotional language. That's it.
Yeah, that many people.
But do it. It's really worth it. I would advise. It's really worth it. The awkwardness only lasts for a few months, and then everything falls into place, and it's much easier.
Nice. It's good advice. I'm sure that all the families or people listening to this were probably taking notes.
Yeah, I remember once talking to Claudia. She was about 6 months old, and I was saying, "You're a pretty thing. And her grandma, my mother-in-law, said, "But why do you speak to her in English? She doesn't understand you in English." And I said, "But do you not realize that she doesn't understand you in Spanish either?" She's 6 months old. but what she understands is the gestures. And she goes, oh,
Yeah, and the pit and the noise, yeah, the tone of the voice,
yes.
and the eyes.
The
No,
same
as a child.
grandma, I must say, that has bought her Shakespeare
multiple times
in English.
and I've written the whole pages to the actual
Yes,
version.
yes.
Excellent. Okay, we've got a question. I know. Okay, Carmen is saying, thank you for the chat. I am one of those persons who ends up feeling stupid using, I guess, using.
Yes, please overcome it. I think we can. I think we should set up one of those workshops for parents where we can share those awkwardnesses, and they disappear, because once you feel that, oh, hang on a minute, it's not only my thing, other people are feeling the same, then it's easier to overcome.
Yeah. No, I think many people would say exactly the same. And after, as anything, after exposure, you do it once and you feel it's real weird. You do it twice, a bit strange. You do it 3, 4, 4 times, and gradually it's like, okay.
Yes, and it disappears.
It's no longer an issue.
It's associating language to situations and to people, and it disappears.
Exactly. Well, she encourages the workshop idea.
So
Carmen,
okay, glad.
Carmen is ready for the workshop.
Yes.
No, but she said, thank you. The webcast has inspired me. So
okay,
no one should give up.
No, certainly not. And there's more and more parents. In our experience, there's more and more parents participating, sharing the English experience with their kids, and you can really tell the difference in the classrooms. Not vocabulary wise or grammar wise,
grammar perfection.
It's just how the kid feels in English. You can tell how the kid is open to learning more English, to speaking, to sharing, to communicating. You can tell. And I'm saying this thinking of a kid whose mom is a B1, which is an intermediate level, but she plunges on and it's she's obviously doing a lot of good.
Nice. No, it's definitely worth it, and you've got a living proof of this next to you.
I've got 2 actually. 2.
Yeah, well, next to you 1. Somewhere around the week.
The second one was actually a challenge because I thought, oh God, because she, because it's 33% in English and 60% in Spanish. But no, they've actually got a relationship in English. They play in English. They share things in English. So
yes, it works.
Okay.
So we've got another message. Thanks so much for sharing your experiences. I would join the workshop as well. Till then, I will continue speaking German to the baby.
Good.
So done well. Very good. Okay. Claudia, would you like to add anything?
I've noticed how much you've spoken, how much you've spoken about having the kid having loads of problems mixing languages up, and that has been a relevant thing around speaking about. And I think a very important message is nobody's perfect. The kid is still a kid, and
eventually it will fall into place.
And it won't. I mean, they might not have perfect grades in the language they're fluent in, but I never had perfect grades in Spanish, and that's my mother language. I've never had perfect grades in English, and that's also my mother language. They're not going to have a perfect. They're not going to be perfect in the language relentless, because there's no such thing as perfecting. As perfection. So it's honestly the fear of
making mistakes.
The kid copying your mistakes or having the wrong accent is unimportant compared to the kid being comfortable, especially being comfortable with the language.
Great bit of advice. So perfect example there. Well, here in general, thank you both very much for being here, for sharing, for your honesty, especially as well, Claudia, for sharing your opinions and your advice. Hopefully it will change some people's opinion, and it will make more bilingual children. So that's very good news. And have a wonderful day, and we'll see each other in the next webcast, Family Matters. Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye, everybody.